Quite oftentimes, I hear from one spouse saying, I'm ready to change my financial situation, but my spouse just isn't on board. So, we're going to discuss 4 reasons why your spouse may not want to get involved with the finances together. Coming up.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to another edition of the Sunday Night Sit Down with America's #1 money couple. I'm Talent.
And I'm Ty, and we're from hisandhermoney.com, where we're managing money, marriage, and everything in between.
This Sunday Night Sit Down is being brought to you by Policy Genius, where you can find a really cool free tool to help you figure out whether or not you have the proper coverage of insurance to meet the needs of your family. Just head over to hisandhermoney.com/policygenius, or you can click the link below in the description box. Well, guys, like we said in the opening, we know that so many of you out there have this deep-rooted desire to change your financial situation for the better once and for all. But quite oftentimes, when there's a marriage going on, we find that one spouse is ready to go full force, but the other spouse may not be quite there yet. And for a lot of you guys, you come to us and you're discouraged. You're trying to figure out, what can you do? What should you do? How can you make progress when your spouse is not yet on board? So we kind of want to dig a little deeper and help you realize that there may be some reasons behind your spouse's unwillingness to get involved in the financial situation. So we're going to outline 4 reasons why they may not want to be involved, and then we're going to talk about a strategy that you can use to help you all move forward. So the first reason your spouse may not want to get involved in you guys' financial situation is because they don't understand the situation clearly. They don't really know how bad it really is. They have their head in the sand and they're not willing to address it because they figure that being blind is better than knowing the truth. And so because of that, they don't want to talk about it. They would rather keep their head in the sand. They would rather not know and continue on through life as if nothing is wrong. And that could be a really big stumbling block for you guys coming together financially to try and figure this thing out.
So often, there are so many spouses who are just given, quote unquote, an allowance or a debit card or a credit card, and they know that every time they go to swipe it, whether it's buying groceries or things for the kids, the money is always there. So they figure, hey, everything must be okay, so I don't need to ask any questions. Money must be coming in. We must not have any issues financially, so because every time I go to swipe that card, I can buy whatever I want. But that should not be a reason on why you should not get involved in your finances. The second reason why your spouse may not be getting involved in your finances is because they don't really feel valued. They don't feel as if their opinion really matters. You may have a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home husband, and maybe because they're not bringing income in the home, they feel like they don't have a voice in the situation. They feel like they don't have a say-so when it comes to finances. But that's so all wrong. You guys know, if you all have been following Tyler and I for a long time, we are huge advocates of both parties being on the same board, and we are one when it comes to everything. Not just in marriage, but we are one even when it comes to taking care of our finances. So you must get involved, regardless if you're working outside of the home, inside of the home, regardless if you're bringing money in the home or not, you must get involved.
In a marriage, when it comes to finances, the only way that you can win is if you are operating as a team. No solo stars here, ladies and gentlemen. You both have to be involved. The third reason that your spouse may not want to be involved in your finances is because they are fearful. They know that things are bad and they're scared to know exactly how bad. They don't want to know that, man, foreclosure is right around the corner. They don't want to know that the account is in the red. So they don't try to talk to you about it. They don't want the information. They don't want the insight because they're scared of what they will hear or what they will see. And that fear is keeping them, again, with a blind eye, not trying to know the full story.
Also, too, on the other side of fear, sometimes they're afraid that maybe their lifestyle is going to change. That if they do get involved in the finances, hey, they might not be able to have as much spending cash. They may not be able to go out with the girls or the guys. Like, the life as they know it may totally come to an end. So they would rather just avoid the situation because they don't want their lifestyle to change. So they may just totally avoid the situation because they don't want their lifestyle to change. The fourth reason on why maybe your spouse just won't get involved is because you are too controlling. Yes, you heard me. Very, very controlling. Majority of the time in a marriage, one particular spouse tends to be the more powerful one, you would say, but you have to be very, very careful. Just because you may have a powerful voice or you may have a more dominant voice when it comes to the finances, you have to be careful that you are not controlling. When you're controlling, your spouse is feeling like a child. Your spouse is not really feeling like your equal partner. They're afraid to even come to you to ask for lunch money. I mean, come on now. That's scary.
Yeah.
But that's the reality. A lot of times in marriages, a spouse may not even, sometimes they have to go outside of the home. Maybe they have to ask a parent or a sibling for money because they can't even ask their husband or their wife that they're married to. They have to go outside of the marriage because of control. Don't control your spouse. You need to, as you said, be a team. You and your spouse are on one team. So give up the control. Loosen the reins a little bit. Don't be a dictator when it comes to your finances because you're going to push your spouse all the way on the other side. And then too, sometimes a lot of you use control as a mechanism or a tool so your spouse won't come and be involved in the money. And I want to say something to that spouse who may be the one on the other side where you have a particular spouse that is controlling you. Don't keep your mouth closed. I know sometimes you can be very, very afraid, and some situations may be so bad where you can't speak, but you need to speak to someone. Get somebody involved if it gets really, really bad. Maybe a pastor or a counselor, someone that you can trust or confide in, and let them know how you're feeling because you don't want those emotions to build up. You don't want the relationship to get so bad to where it actually leads to divorce. So it is very important. Even in our marriage, it's important that sometimes my husband speaks up, and it's important that I speak up, that I say, hey, you know what? I'm not really feeling too comfortable about this financial decision that we made. Can we talk about it? You know, and thank God that I have a spouse that can sit down and say, well, okay, come on, let's put it all on the table. You know, what are your feelings concerning the situation? So you want to make sure that you create an atmosphere where both parties can talk and discuss in a healthy manner.
So we want to introduce you guys to a strategy that we made up to help you get through this. Because if you notice, with all four of these reasons, there's a breakdown in communication. So what should you do if you find yourself in one or more than one of these situations? Well, you should hug your spouse. You should hug your spouse more. Well, not really, but yeah, you should hug.
Yeah.
But what we mean by hug, it's an acronym. The H in hug stands for hear. You should take time to hear your spouse's heart. All too often, when we hear the word communication, we automatically think about talking. We need to talk. We need to talk. We need to talk. Well, the good Lord gave you one mouth and two ears. So you need to make it a discipline to open up the lines of communication in such a way that you are able to hear the heart of your spouse, because that is how you will find why they won't get involved. And when you know the why, when you know the root and the cause behind it, then you can make provisions to kind of make adjustments to get them involved.
The U stands for you need to understand your spouse. Understand that God made both of you different, so therefore your opinion matters, your value matters, all of it matters. You know, talent is more of the spender, or as Dave Ramsey likes to say, you're more of the free spirit.
Yep.
And I'm more the saver, and I'm more of the nerd. So we balance each other out. We need that in our lives. So he matters to me, and I matter to him. So we both have to understand each other.
And the G stands for galvanize. The word galvanize means to come together. So after you took time to hear each other's hearts, after you took time to understand each other's perspectives, now you guys need to come together and galvanize and come up with a game plan to move your family forward financially. So again, you need to hear, you need to understand, and then you need to galvanize, hug each other more.
That's it, guys. Well, we hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, check us out over at our website at hisandhermoney.com. Meet us back here next Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where you will see the both of us sharing with you.
And don't forget to pick up a copy of our brand new book, Money Talks, the ultimate couple's guide to communicating about money. Pick up your copy today at hisandhermoney.com. Well, guys, it's been great. Until next time.
Bye.
Peace.